stacks are linear data structures that can only be accessed at one end for storing and retrieving data. Kasi as mentioned during the introduction, okay, how are we going to illustrate stacks? Okay, so again, ang stack is para siyang box. It's just a box open on top. And the structure of this is LIFO. So when you say LIFO, last in, first out. So let's say, for example, I'm going to insert data. I'm going to only insert data on top of the stack. So let's say, for example, I insert 5, then I insert 10, then I insert 100. So how are we going to remove the data in the stack? So we're going to, again, use the top of the stack. That's why last data in, that's the first data to be removed. So 100 will be removed before 10. If 10 is already on top of the stack, 10 can be removed also as well. So yan yung ibig sabihin ng stacks. Now, what are the examples of stacks? So meron tayong stack of coins, meron tayong stack of books, and of course, computer stacks. Now, these are just key operations when we are dealing with algorithms with stacks. So what are the key operations? So let's say, for example, you're going to create a function or a method, okay, in stack. So when you say clear, okay, pag sinabi natin clear, we are just testing if the stack is parang clear, okay, or ibig sabihin nun, not, it's empty, okay? So it's the same thing as is empty, okay? You are testing if the stack is empty. Then push will be the algorithm or the code or the syntax when we are inserting, okay, data on top of the stack. So meaning it adds element, EL is element, to the top of the stack. Then make sure that when we are talking about push, always with a parameter or a single parameter. So let's say, for example, I said push 15. Ibig sabihin yan, if this is the stack, I'm going to push 15 data, so I'm going to put it here. Okay? Next, what else? Pwede rin. For example, push, panari, meron kayong parenthesis, S, 3. What's the meaning of push S, 3? S is the name of the stacks, and then 3 will be the data to be pushed within the stack. So this is 3. Okay? So yun yun. Then pop. Pop is not the same thing as push. Kasi si pop, walang element sa loob ng parenthesis. Kasi alam natin that the structure is last in, first out. Meaning, whatever the value on top of the stack will be the first one to be removed inside the stack. So, kunwari, pag sinabi ko lang na pop, okay, so pop, parenthesis, meaning I'm already removing the value of 3 inside the stack or the value of 15 inside the stack. Then top EL, what's top EL? We are just returning or showing or displaying the value on top of the stack. So let's say, for example, I have 5, 10, 15. And I just want to know, and that this is S, just want to know what's the top value of the stack. So if I'm going to use top EL, parenthesis, okay? So that means, for example, X equals top EL. So this is the box of X, and I'm going to get only, not removing, okay, but I'm only to display and get the value of data on top of the stack. So X becomes value 15. So I can display already X on that. So that's the key operation for stacks operation. So this is just the same thing as what we did earlier, yung demonstration on how are we going to push and pop data on top of the stacks. Okay? So now, ano ba yung implementation ng stack use? So let's consider a compiler, for example. A compiler determines errors in the program. So specifically, we're going to identify delimiters in a program. So let's say, for example, na-create tayo ng code. Then we create code with delimiters. What are the delimiters? These are the delimiters. Okay? So yung mga may parentheses, bracket, and then the program comment is considered as delimiter. So now the problem here is we are going to test the delimiters that have been correctly matched. So we need to identify if the delimiters are correctly na nag-match or hindi nag-match. So how are we going to identify and how are we going to make use of the stack? Okay, if the syntax or the code has been successfully compiled. Okay, so take note of this. If the stack is empty, ibig sabihin, lahat nag-match. But if the stack, merong natira, kunwari may natirang open parenthesis or close parenthesis, hindi nag-empty, ibig sabihin, may error. Okay? Hindi nag-match yung delimiter niya. Okay? Then, not necessarily na empty yung stack is always successful. Okay? May tendency kasi na walang open parenthesis pero may close parenthesis. So, ibig sabihin, hindi pa rin nag-match yun. So, let's have this example, yung problem natin. So, there are two problems here, letter A and letter B. So, how are we going to identify if letter A has been successfully been compiled and letter B is not successfully been compiled? So, tingnan natin. Sabi natin dito, we only need to read the delimiters. Okay? Take note that the characters needs to perform is this one only. So, we're going to skip any other characters than this delimiter. Okay. So, paano yun? Okay, nakikita nyo naman dito, di ba? So, let's say, for example, ito yung stack natin. Okay? Nakikita nyo pa yung dinadraw ko? Yes?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay. So, let's say, for example, this is the stack. So, let's name it as stack S. Okay? Whenever we scan any character, we're going to push, okay, if the delimiters are the open delimiters. So, ano ba yung mga open delimiters? Bracket na open, curly brace na open, parentheses na open, and then a slash and a parenthesis if it's a program comment. Okay? So now, kapag other than that, let's just ignore. So W ignore, H ignore, I ignore, L ignore, E ignore. Then we have open parentheses. So we're going to push it within the stack. So push parentheses. Then again, move, scan again another character, M ignore, less than ignored, and then another open parenthesis pushed within the stack. Then again, N ignored, then we have open bracket, so push it again inside the stack. Then 8 ignore, then close. If we already see close, okay, same as the character on top of the stack, tatanggalin natin siya, we're going to omit it. Okay, so omit natin siya. Okay, omit. So ano na lang ang natitira? Yung dalawang parentheses. Then again, plus ignored, 0 ignored. Then we have again a parenthesis here, close, meaning nag-pair, nag-match. So i-remove ko na siya rito. Then again, another parenthesis, close parenthesis, ignored ulit. So empty yung stack natin for a while. Next, ito na naman tayo, curly brace. So I'm going to push it again. P ignored, 11 equals ignored, 7 ignored, semicolon ignored. And then a slash. Take note, di ba, ang compiler or a program only reads single character. So how can we perform if there are two characters? So para tayong magkakaroon ng testing condition. If a slash, if we read another character after slash and that's equivalent to an asterisk, meaning it's a program comment. Okay? So kapag asterisk, saka mo lang siya ipupush. So ipupush ko muna yung slash and then yung asterisk. And then you just ignored any characters within that particular symbol. The next is an asterisk. So, pop yung asterisk. Then, ito ulit. Pop ulit yung slash. Then, R ignore equals ignore. 6 ignore. Semicolon ignore. Then, curly braces na close. Close. So, empty pa rin yung stack. So, if you're going to take a look at the key or the syntax from letter A, we finish from up to the curly braces and the stack is empty. So, meaning to say, okay, A, return, A, success. Okay? How about sa letter B naman tayo? Okay. For the letter B, tingnan natin what will happen. This is S. A ignored, equals ignored, B ignored, plus ignored, open parenthesis, push within the stack. C ignored, minus ignore, D ignore, close parenthesis, so pop. So, empty ulit yung stack. Asterisk ignored. Parenthesis ulit. So, push. E ignored. Minus ignore. F ignore. Close. So, pop. And if you're going to take a look at this one, although stack is empty, but still there is a character. Okay? Close parenthesis, meaning it should return an error.